Streamlabs is still... Okay. It looks like I'm still going. Streamlabs just kind of derped out there for a second. I downloaded the newest update, and of course you got to give it a test flush first. So hopefully I didn't glitch out there. Yep, there you go. Electro and King have bonded over the lewdness. You know what? That's what makes friends, right? When we can all just agree, you know, that moth people have an intrinsic fluffiness to them, and you just want to pet their heads. That will solve so many conflicts. All right. So, to start out, you may notice that we are using an original character sheet. That's because I don't want anything super fancy-dancy. I want the good old basic, what you can download from Wizards of the Coast, very vanilla character sheet. And we're going to make a random character and explore who this person is here and now. And for the rest of the week, this will be our default character. As we continue, not tonight, but through the rest of the week, we are going to take this same character and modify one, maybe two things at a time. Very subtle things that will end up having a significant impact on that character. Darkwolf says, Kitty's here, so we're doing stuff. I'll be around sparingly. Okay. Well, hey, tell Kitty on paper that that I say hello. No, ma'am, you can't. No. Here. Here, take that. It's dangerous to go alone. There you go. All right. She's a wolf bro plier, but her sister's a kitty. Yep, Dolly's got it. Nope, you got it, Dolly. All right. So, blank template. Who knows what we're going to get? We're going to go PHB. And let's begin. Our base character, before we play Quantum Leap or Sliders or whatever else with him or her, let's discover who we have. Let's roll a percentile. Boom. 22. All right, we're starting with a female character. A female character who is, and we're going to roll, I'll roll a d10 and re-roll a 10. Who is, here we go, aha, a dwarf. Now I'm going to re-roll the d10, and we're going to go evens or odds for which subrace. 3 odds. All right, so we have a female mountain dwarf. Her alignment, or how she presents herself and her thoughts to the outside world, is going to be calculated with 2 percentile rolls. 41 and 72. That is going to put her as a chaotic good character. So, she tends to be selfless and impulsive. Hi, Diadems. Welcome. I hope you're doing well. Now, as we didn't roll an evil character, we don't need to worry about the alignment special rules here. The level at which we're going to generate her then, let's go back to 1 percentile. 19. We're going to be generating her at level 6. That means we are going to change one, or we'll have the chance to increase her stats 1 time at level 4. Or, depending on what we roll here, what will happen if we replace that by taking a feat instead. Percentile to figure it out. 74. Ooh, just shy. All talent. It's all natural with her, baby. Bro Plier, if you haven't cleaned it out, you can take, like a brush or a vacuum. Like, especially because I know you have dogs, Bro Plier. You might have some dog hair that's getting, like, into your keys and can be having that happen. Yes, you'll be better in 4.5 hours. Oh, you're on shift right now. Alright. We're going to generate a 13-sided die and figure out her background. We rolled a 2. Her background is that of a charlatan. Now, charlatans have a favorite con. There are 6 that are listed in the PHB. Let's roll a d6 and find out which one she focuses on. 5. I don't know what 5 means yet, but we'll figure it out soon enough. They're just placeholders. While we're here, let's roll 2d8 for her personality traits. 7 and 3. And now let's get an ideal, a bond, and a flaw. So it's all random for this character. Otherwise, you might have a DM that would allow you to handpick from the list provided, or just tell you, make something up yourself. A lot of what you do in D&D is dependent on your group that you play with. It's kind of loosey-goosey. 4, 6, and 3. Again, these are placeholders. We'll come back and revisit them. Now, let's find out what her class will be. I have a big old golden D12 that needs rolled for this. One. A barbarian. A female mountain dwarf barbarian. She's going to be putting in work. Electro Dolly, you want to talk about someone who can start with an axe? They can start with a great axe, and she just rolls up on people. All right. Also, Bro Plier, when you say nerd pretzels, what does that imply? Now, barbarians in the player's handbook can take one of 2 path options or archetypes. I'm going to re-roll the d12, and we're going to go odds or evens. 11 odds. She is going to be a Berserker Barbarian. Oh, come on. Speaking of keys that are... Oh, you know what? It's because... Yep, that's why. Haha. I forgot. This thing does not... This one doesn't play as nice as the other one does. There we go. Okay. So, a Berserker Barbarian. And now let's finish rounding her out, quite literally, with some physical stats. Being a mountain dwarf, she is starting at 4 feet tall, and we're going to add 2d4 inches to her height. 6 inches. So, she is 4 feet, 6 inches tall. We're going to take that same 6 pounds and multiply it by 2d6 to give her extra weight on top of her base weight. So, 6 times 10, we're adding 60 pounds to her starting base weight of 130. And so she is 190 pounds at 4 feet, 6 inches tall. She's a healthy girl. She carries her weight. Hey, Forsaken, I'm doing very well. Yeah, oh yeah. And probably a good shock of hair, too, Electro Dolly. Forsaken, are you feeling better, too, by the way? Have you recovered from, like, your summer cold or whatever you've been having going on? Okay. Lastly, I'm going to roll a percentile. And this will determine where in her life cycle she is. Is she a child prodigy, you know, like Ash out of Pallet Town? You know, she's the Dwarven equivalent of a 10 or 11-year-old, or, you know, like a young person. Is she a young adult just, you know, getting out on her first adventure? Or is she venerable, and this could very well be her last? Yeah, she is very buff, curves, swole, bulk, burl. It's all there. She's got it all. All right, percentile. 23. So she's not a child prodigy, but she is a young adult. And that is going to put her, let's see, that's column 2 here. Dwarves. Bink. So she is between 50 and 100, which in their culture would make her a young adult. She is presumably physically matured up to the point that we find her, even before then. But for her people, they'll still look at her at 100 years old and say, "Oh, you know, you're just what do you know? You're a young kid still. Enjoy your youth." So let's roll a 50-sided die and find out how old she is. 42. All right, so she is 92 years old and is still a young adult. Don't loot the mountain dwarf. Yeah, she'll go berserk on you, right? She can handle herself. No, ma'am, I already gave you some pepperoni. I mean, I wouldn't tell this character I would not give her pepperoni. But, Alright, we do not need this random roll guide anymore. From here, it's up to the player's handbook and our imaginations to carry us forward. So we put that away, and let's begin by looking at our background. Barbarians are barbarians. They're going to be mostly the same. Not that you can't have special stuff. I don't want to discourage you from that. Let's find out who she is first. Don't worry that she's a barbarian. Yes, she rages. Yes, she could probably swing an axe like no one's business. We'll get to that. Let's find out who she is. How does she think? What's in her heart? How do you have a charlatan barbarian? Charlarblian? How would you want to combine that? A barlaritan. I don't know. Have fun with it. All right. Let's go to Charlatan. Here we go. Second one in. She's a wholesome berserker. She might very well be. She might be quite wholesome. I guess we'll figure that out when we look at her personality. All right. So her favorite schemes. We randomly rolled number 5. So she runs sleight of hand cons on street corners. So she's a person who'll go and do some street magic, 3-card Monty, follow the ball under the shuffling cups, things along those lines. And so this is how she can make money or entertain people. With, like, card tricks and things like that. Yeah, she's crafty. Now, she also has a feature, by the way, of a false identity. You have created a second identity that includes documentation, established acquaintances, and disguises that allow you to assume that persona. Additionally, you can forge documents, including official papers and personal letters, as long as you have seen an example of the kind of document or the handwriting you're trying to copy. You know what? given the fact that we are going to be discovering how you can change one aspect of a character and change the character, I think we've actually made just by pure accident, believing in the random number generation, we have made a mascot who is here to do just that with her false identity. And her ability to use disguise kits to look older or younger, to look like a male dwarf or whatnot. So, something I want you to think as we're making her as she is. Well, I guess we could say her false identities would be the different versions of her that we'd create. But it's a fun imagination to think, well, you know, here we have this raging barbarian, and people are going to look at her and judge her. Oh, I gotcha. You're a big, swole mountain dwarf. You swing an axe. I get you. But really, she's a keen con artist who can run a scam. A scam in Scandinavia, she can stick 'em up down under or go pickpocket Perth. She puts the miss in misdemeanor when she stole the beans from Lima. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Come on. I'm not rockapella with my voice. But were any of you thinking this? Alright, her personality trait. You're thinking of a dwarf Velma? Oh, that was the orange sweater? Possibly. There's no stats on eyeglasses. Maybe they exist in this world. And just because she's a barbarian doesn't mean that she can't wear like thick-rimmed glasses. Maybe they have to be in order to stay on her face while she's raging in battle. All right. Let's look at her personality. Her first personality trait is number 7. I keep multiple holy symbols on me and invoke whatever deity might come in useful at any given moment. And number 3, flattery is my preferred trick for getting what I want. So, she will give you a wink and a nod in order to try and get you to lower your guard. I'm not sure I understand your comment, Bro Plier. They add to whatever you need to have better accuracy. What are you referring? And there she goes. What is her ideal for society or the world? Number 4. Creativity. I never run the same con twice. So she challenges herself. She wants to think outside the box. She wants to be unique. Yep, bye. Yeah, she's eating that pepperoni. Oh, gotcha, her glasses, Bro Plier. There are magic items that are different goggles and such. And, you know, if you were to take this character and play her, you know, you talk to your DM and maybe they'll give you magical glasses, or they'll just say, look, you need them to see normally. I guess you could say that adds to your accuracy, because there's nothing wrong with playing a character that does need glasses or needs like a wrist brace because of some arthritis or some kind of old war injury. It's fine to play characters that actually have ailments that we have as human beings. You know, look, if she's a Berserker Barbarian, how often do you think that she has strained her voice as she rages and yells in combat? Possibly. I guess she could do it silently. But if she did that, would she have kind of a smoky, husky voice? Would she have a gravelly voice? Or maybe she just seethes inside with rage and doesn't actually yell. And so when she speaks, you would not suspect a voice like that coming from this little barbarian. And she's kind of like Bernadette from Big Bang Theory. If any of you get the reference. All right. Her bond is number 6. Oh, here we go. Am I blocking? I'm blocking flaws. I can't scroll down without it flipping, so you're going to have to trust me on this one. Her bond is number 6. I swindled and ruined a person who didn't deserve it. I seek to atone for my misdeeds, but might never be able to forgive myself. Not only is this a role-playing prompt for you as a character, the DM can take a look at this aspect of the character, and we now have created an NPC somewhere out there in the world. Or, if the NPC is not going to be relevant, we have a challenge. We have a moral challenge, or some kind of a redemption story to tell with our character. Because she does carry this regret. Maybe she realized, look, I give a little bit of a wink, kind of a, kind of the lift and hug, and she ended up getting someone into trouble that ought not to, but she realized that she had that power over people, and she realizes that responsibility. She may be a Berserker Barbarian, but she seems to actually be conscious of her body and her abilities, and she's willing to let him go when it's necessary. But she just doesn't want to use it at all points in time. Now, lastly, her flaw. Sorry, my mustache is like super just like I have a fan on, and I don't know if it's like part of that or the pizza, but it's more than a cookie duster on the pizza right now. So I'm having to kind of adjust my mustache. Her flaw, because we are all flawed creatures as players and characters, is number 3. Which my head is blocking here, just trust me. I'm convinced that no one could ever fool me the way I fool others. Aha! So she does have overconfidence. And that can be something to exploit as a DM who wants to challenge her. If she believes something, it obviously can't be any different because she would have picked up on it, right? No one can pull one over on her because she's the one who pulls things over on people. Okay. We are going to get skill proficiencies in Deception and Sleight of Hand. No, not at all, Electro. It is a combination of pepperoni, sausage, and mushroom. But it's those pepperonis that kind of like pucker up into little suction cup shapes. And the sausage they call it kind of like old world style. And the sausage are more like little like strips than like crumbles or round parts. And mushroom. Like sauteed mushrooms. It's really good. Alright. I can't have pizza, broadcast, and have you all at the same time. The other one is right here. There we go. Alright. But Electro, no, DMing isn't necessarily that hard. Because everything happens in time. Everything happens. It doesn't have to happen all at once, and you don't have to micromanage everything. Now, can you as a DM? Of course. Some people just have that kind of accounting style that I can track the minutia of a game. That, you know, they have this sort of like compulsive order to things. And that's fine. That is a style of DMing. But ultimately, can I have my camera back, please? But ultimately, Electro, if you're playing, or if you're running D&D, it's your game as a DM, it's your style and your storytelling fashion. And you move at your own pace. Okay, bro player. Now I want pizza. I think we talked about this, DMs. You still have some good pizza choices up your way, don't you? Are there any, like, local delicacies? Did I ask about that? Like seafood pizza or some kind of a local special? Something along those lines? Alright. We're going to get proficiency with disguise kits and forgery kits. Next up, we have a set of fine clothes. So let's put this in our backpack. Fine clothes. So she can wear a red dress if she wants to, or, you know, go out on the town and not just be rolling around in, you know, like a leather loincloth and, you know, with like a fur cape on, and that's that. You know, she doesn't have to be a savage barbarian. It's just that she can brawl. She can dish out and she can take. Let's see. She's also going to get a disguise kit. Tools of the con of your choice. So in this set, it's going to be something like a deck of marked cards. And a belt pouch containing 15 gold pieces. So she can do a little shopping on the side. A character creation. Papa Murphy's, Papa John's, Domino's, a local joint that has been around since '73. A couple local joints that are pretty good. You know, I haven't heard of Papa Murphy's. Hey, AP. Good to see you back. Remember, AP, when you can, send me a message so I can reply back to you. Alright. We know who the character is. In fact, I would argue, any of you who are new to D&D, have you already pictured this character in your head? Have you already imagined her? Have you already imagined her acting in certain ways, saying certain things, doing certain things? Maybe you even, in your mind's eye, already know what she looks like. Oh, a take and bake chain. Okay, interesting. See? And look, Dolly, we haven't rolled... I mean, we've rolled dice. We haven't rolled stats. There's no mechanics. Oh, pardon. You don't need to track how many times she's used rage. She'll get it, and we're going to get to that very soon. But who is your character? Why does she say the things she says? What does she do? What's the compelling reason? Arguably, we already have a character made. We just got to fill in some more things. But we have a character made, not a set of stats. Really good, probably a favorite in town. So what, do you just call ahead and they'll put different toppings on and then like vacuum seal it for you to take home? Or how does that operate, Diadems? All right, now let's go and take a look at who she is being a mountain dwarf. So all dwarves are going to get all the dwarf traits. Boom, right here. Being a mountain dwarf, you're going to get a couple extras. Your constitution score increases by 2. So let's just make a little note, right? Let's float that right here for when we do our scores. Age we have, alignment we have. We are medium-sized. We may be a short stack, but we're still a medium-sized creature mechanically. Our speed is 25 feet. So we're a little slower than people who are taller than us. We also have dark vision. Out to 60 feet. Now, depending on how you run your races, it could be different. Does her dark vision give her cat-like retinas? So that if her eyes catch in a certain light, they actually seem like they glow. Wouldn't that be cool for like a nighttime encounter when she's battling? Maybe for dwarves, it's body chemistry. It's something genetic in dwarven eyes that just allow them to take in more light. Maybe they have pupils that are like cats or even like goats or something. And so their eyes have adapted in that fashion. The PHB is not going to tell you what your eyes look like necessarily. It might give you some suggestions. But think about it. How does your dwarf see in the dark? Aside from just being told that he or she does. Alright, next up, we have Dwarven Resilience. We have advantage on saving throws against poison and have resistance against poison damage. Dwarves are good at handling poison, which does include alcohol, by the way. Hey, Pouty Lips. Yeah, you might throw in a pizza? Oh man, I've been nomming. Now, I haven't been eating my crusts. And I do that because I like dipping the crusts in ranch. Shh. I know. Some of you might not take too kindly to that. You just have to accept it. Dwarves naturally have bedroom eyes just in case they gotta copulate in the dark. Oh, or Electro Dolly. Maybe she has owl eyes, right? What if her eyes do get really big? Pouty Lips, you've won the game. Once you realize you can dip your pizza crust in ranch, what more in life do you need? She's upset that her inherent biochemistry is also incredibly lewd. Oh, Sprocketeer! Extra large pupils to soak up more light and no whites of the eyes. Sprocketeer, thank you for joining us and participating in the conversation. Sorry, I was on a rant and then I was noticing some comments. Thank you for hanging out with us and putting out an option. That's true. What if your dwarf just has... What if your dwarf is all pupil? Or almost all pupil? Dwarves in your world might just be almost like cartoon characters. In fact, you might just have the white scleras and you have no irises, but you just have a dark pupil that regulates. Or maybe, what if your pupil has sort of like a chromatic color shifting tone to it? So you have kind of like rainbowy eyes in the light, but because of the way that it can reflect, it can gather light, and the spectrum is there. I mean, you can't see color in the dark. Just roll along with it. It makes for a much better grayscale, though, right? And so maybe she has these. Maybe she has this kind of holographic looking coloration. There's a lot of ways you could describe it. Make your character your own. Oh, there you go, bro. Plier, ranch and pizza. They go along well. Elves in my home game have just all black eyes. I like that, Sprocketeer. And is that how you explain that they have dark vision, or is that to make them a little bit more alien in their Fey ancestry? What caused you to apply that cosmetic effect? All right. We have Dwarven combat training, but you know what? As a barbarian, it's going to be redundant anyway. Because we can use simple and martial weapons. If you can bonk someone with it, she's going to bonk someone with something. You use it to explain the night vision. Gotcha, Sprocketeer. AP. That stuff is good in my book. I like a good Hawaiian pizza. The sweet and savory. Molto bene. Alright, she's going to get a tool proficiency. So, the PHB will prompt you with 3 very common Dwarven tools, right? Smith's tools, brewer's supplies, or mason's tools. As many dwarves, you do that for a living. If you were making a Dwarven character, you could replace that with something else that's more appropriate. Oh, pineapple and sausage is good too, Diadems. Glowing eyes might be nice RP, but it'll give you away in the dark. Pepperoni and pineapple. See, I dig that too, Pouty Lips. It's the sweetness with the kind of the tang of the citrus, and some kind of a savory meat. And there we go. So think about this. Which kind of tool proficiency would she have? Well, if she's used to using her hands, right? She runs a lot of sleight of hand techniques. She never runs the same con twice. She does a lot of card tricks and whatnot. If she's good with her hands and she's very proficient at using weapons and various tools to make weapons or repair them, maybe we make her proficient with Smith's tools. Or if you like thinking of her that she's a carouser, maybe she knows how to make her own brews. And so if she's around brewer supplies, she can use them with efficiency. Or Mason's tools. Maybe she's a builder. And Masons just aren't cutting blocks too. That's also, that could be carving designs into them. Maybe she does intricate work like that. In fact, what if Mason's tools is better for her than Smith's? Because it's more delicate. You sent it yesterday? I didn't see it offhand, AP. Because it's more delicate. Whoop. I had a redundancy there. Yeah, I do not see it in my chat history here, AP. Although apparently I won very recently a Natu badge from Twitch Plays Pokemon. So that's good. But no, AP, I do not see where I have received a message from you. Sometimes the Twitch Messenger can be really derpy. I don't know why. It does happen, though. And I've had that happen to me. Something like Bob the Builder. Mason's tools. Alright, we also get stone cutting. That allows her to better be able to identify is something of Dwarven make, and other aspects of evaluating that. Hi. Can you get your claw out of my... Ma'am? Thank you. Alright, I'll check it out right now, AP. Okay, there we go, AP. I refreshed, I hard reset my, my browser as well, and I do see it now. We're good. There we go. And I replied back to you. Alright. Yes, we can. We can speak Dwarven and Common. And then we're going to look at what we get by virtue of being a mountain dwarf. As a mountain dwarf, you're strong and hardy, accustomed to a difficult life and rugged terrain. Now, just because your PHB says this, it doesn't mean it's 100% of all mountain dwarves. But it gives you a good starting point and something to consider. Your strength score increases by 2, and that's going to be important for us as a barbarian. And dwarven armor training. You have proficiency with light and medium armor. Much like with the dwarven combat training, as a barbarian, it's already going to be taken care of. Now, if you rolled a wizard, that means that you could roll around as a wizard in light or medium armor, because you have proficiency in it. Yep, Twitch plays Pokemon, Electro. I have a lot of crates in that I can pop open someday. And I'm sitting on a mountain of badges, also, that I can transmute into some other things. One day I'll just have to unleash all my tokens and everything in that channel and just have fun. Okay. Now, let's go to Barbarian and take a look-see at... We know who she is, and we know what she does by virtue of being a dwarf. You know, what's her culture? What are some background items in that regard? Let's see what she's doing as a profession, aside from Charlatan, but as a way she expresses herself, defends herself, maybe even helps influence her worldview. At 6th level, all we have to worry about is this stuff. Don't let it be overwhelming. Our proficiency bonus is +3 at this level. And we are going to be able to rage 4 times a day. Rage 4 times a day. With +2 damage when we rage. We hit things harder with our muscles when we're upset. No, we rolled that at level 4. Instead of taking a feat, she's going to take a stat bump. So we can make her more swole. Or more keen, or whatever else we want to give her. Speaking of a mountain dwarf barbarian, this could be a representation of her. Okay. Hit points. We are level 6. We're going to have 6 hit dice worth of hit points we can recover when we're resting between battles or other events. So we have 6 D12 hit dice. Also, we're going to get light and armor medium proficiencies as well as shields. Light, medium, and shields. Next up, for weapons, simple and martial. If she can bonk someone with it, she's gonna find a way to do it. No tool proficiencies as part of the class. Her saving throw proficiencies are going to be strength and constitution. You know, someone tries to... Well, she's already resistant to poison, but let's say someone tries to poison her or shoot some kind of, you know, necromancy, rot magic at her. She's going to be a lot more hale and hardy to weather that than perhaps a wizard will. She'll just flex it off. Alright, now, her skills. It's partially hidden behind me here. But let's go to her background up here. Which 2 skills do you think she would choose? Animal handling, athletics, intimidation, nature, perception, and survival. In what's standing out to me, and you are very much allowed to have a different opinion, would be intimidation could help her run a con. Right? I keep, well, she also keeps multiple holy symbols. Flattery is my preferred trick for getting what I want. So we have deception, although if you were making this character, you could talk to your DM and say, well, look, this is part of my background. Can I replace intimidation with persuasion and take that instead? Well, look, intimidation is charisma, and performance is charisma. So you might not run into trouble. But don't be afraid to talk to your DM about stuff like that. Worst case, she or he says, nah, just leave it where it lies and we'll go from there. And you say, all right, that's fine. Play the long game. What type of clan does she come from? Sprocketeer? She could be from whatever we want her to be. We've randomly generated these other aspects to her. We randomly generated race, class, background, gender, level, which archetype, her alignment. We've randomly generated. So we're looking at the individual, and then we can extrapolate elements of the world. And so we could go back and ask, well, what kind of a society would produce an individual like this? So we do primarily focus on the individual, and then that will be an indication of the greater world that can exist to produce someone like that. I did that for a character last year. Came out really well. Sprocketeer, I mean, doing random characters on the channel here is bread and butter for a lot of our workshops. It's amazing and so much fun, the things that you can do. It really, really is. So I'm thinking that intimidation and perception would be good for her, right? Perception, so she can keep an eye out for marks, or she can watch under which cup the ball is under to try and, win the con game. Intimidation, she can bully people, because, I mean, people might say, please no bully, PLZNOBULLI, please no bully, but she's still going to give them steppies. So, I don't know if any of you got any of that, but, the internet is a thing. So unless I see otherwise, we have intimidation and perception. Indeed, yep. And can you tell me a little bit about your random character, Sprocketeer? You made it. It sounds like he or she left a good impression on you. Hey, One Crit Wonder, thank you very much for the host. Lend me your strength, your power. Alright, and our starting equipment. A great axe or any martial melee weapon. You know what? There's not too many problems that a great axe can't solve. You're just here for the cat. Well, there you go then. She thanks you as well. Because it's through your help, One Crit, that allows me to do things like buy pizza and give her a piece of pepperoni. There she goes. Because she has to eat it on the floor. Every dice roll and choice was randomly selected, skills, attributes, etc. I shall make a cat noise for wonder. Oh, okay. Halfling thief without stealth. But you know what? Isn't that a great challenge? And you're breaking preconceived notions. Alright, so we're starting with a great axe. In fact, let's also give her 2 hand axes. So she can throw them if people are trying to run away. And she wants to share the love. And some javelins. To also continue to share long-range interdiction. And down here, an explorer's pack. Swinging by to say hey and drop the host, but I'm off to the shower. All right, One Crit. Be well, sir. Thank you for popping in and saying hi. Also, One Crit, my Curse of Strahd game ended at the store this week, and next week we're going to be having a Session 0 for Tomb of Annihilation. That'll be the new public game that we run. Sprocketeer, religious background, joined the church to please parents, and then whilst performing charity works, feeding the poor, etc., got caught up in the underworld and left the church to become a cut purse. Sprocketeer, that sounds awesome. And that character wouldn't have existed if you didn't trust those dice. I mean, continue. I'm not saying that to cut it off. I definitely want to hear about what happened. Starting off the first night of my vacation with more homework. Yay! Yeah, Tomb of Annihilation. We'll see what happens. Everyone died in Curse of Strahd, and Tomb of Annihilation is kind of a thing. So, by the way, do you have a new character, One Crit? If you have a minute to talk about your Tabaxi Barbarian's demise and who will rise from his ashes. Okay, so we get rage. A lot of things can happen when you rage. You get you're focused. You don't even have to look at it as like, mindless as a barbarian. Yeah, you could run a barbarian like that. But really, like, you're focused, you're determined, you're landing hits harder. You can even run like a battlefield strategist barbarian if you really wanted to. Everyone just dies in some games. It happens, Dolly. The way things happen in that game, they ended up at Castle Ravenloft at an early level. And, well, it's in the Adventure Diary. Although, if you're going to run Curse of Strahd, Dolly or anyone else, don't read the Adventure Diary. Because it'll spoil stuff for you. But, if you want to see some cool pictures, at least scroll through and look at the pictures. Got him up to about level 8, chose Arcane Trickster, based him on an East End London gangster. Oh, that is neat, Sprocketeer. Rage Against Cliffs is now a hat rack in Rosnea's chamber. Fresh on the scene is Evelyn Varick, Tiefling Cleric / Sorcerer. Well, everyone, welcome Evelyn Varick. Hopefully she can pick up the girthy burden that Rain was carrying this whole time. Oh, gotcha, One Crit. King says, quite literally, one of the most popular uses of the Barbarian class was giving it to a drow who pretended his tizzy fit was some ancient elven super mode. I can't say I've heard of that as a strategy. Reasons. Hashtag reasons. I got you, One Crit. That's really cool, though. I hope that she's compelling for you. Alright, we are also going to get Reckless Attack. She will gain advantage to hit people by granting advantage for people to hit her. Danger Sense. So she has an uncanny knack for what's happening around her. She will take her Primal Path at 3, but we'll come back to that. Let's finish looking at what Barbarian gives her first. Extra attack. So she'll get to attack twice on an attack round. Also, fast movement. I don't know if we really need to put that here, but that's going to increase her speed by 10 feet, so she's 35. And, no. Feral Instinct is 7th level. So she's not that high enough yet to get Feral Instinct. So those are our class features. Now, let's take a look at her archetype. And we went with Path of the Berserker. Starting when you choose this path at 3rd level, you can go into a frenzy when you rage. If you do so, for the duration of your rage, you can make a single melee weapon attack as a bonus action. So, she can attack 3 times, effectively. Twice on the standard, once on a bonus. But you will get some exhaustion afterwards. So you're getting an effect now to pay for it later. Hopefully you could just sleep it off. And at level 6, so she just received this, Mindless Rage. Beginning at 6th level, you can't be charmed or frightened while raging. If you are charmed or frightened when you enter your rage, the effect is suspended for the duration of the rage. She just can't even. You know, she looks at the hobgoblin general that's bearing down, and she's so upset, and she just says, I can't even. I just can't even. She may be very upset. I mean, she may be on the verge of wetting herself. But at that point in time, she just can't even. See, now that's interesting, bro applier, because we have a tiefling of a fiendish heritage who is herself a cleric and doing the one invoking or turning the undead. So I'll let you square that circle. And there we go. She is all but made at this point in time. We have the chassis of our character. It's shiny. It has curves. She probably has a spoiler somewhere. You know, very nice glossy tires. And now we gotta drop the Hemi in her, right? Let's put the engine in the Barbarian. And this is where we do a little bit of math. Okay. I recommend, not that this is the only way, as you could do either a point buy or a random roll, I recommend using the standard array for your ability scores. So here we have 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 8 to drop into one each of the 6 abilities. Given what she does, I can argue that charisma is going to be important for her. So too is strength, obviously. So too is dex. She has a lot of stuff going on here. Something else to consider is as a barbarian, she gets unarmored defense. So, let's say that she is just wearing a leather loincloth and, you know, a pretty ribbon in her hair, and that's it. Her AC is 10, plus her dexterity modifier, plus her constitution modifier. Because she's just, like, so, you know, nimble, or, you know, someone swings an axe at her and she does the strike stopper and, like, deflects it aside. In a thematic sense, not in a, like, a monk catch arrow sort of way mechanic. So, barbarians get this if they're not wearing armor of any, you know, of any notable quality. Now, she can wear medium armor, which means that she can benefit from some dexterity, but she won't benefit from the constitution portion. Hey, Krinesh. Yes, in a way we are. We're doing a workshop for a random character that's going to set us up for the rest of the week as we take this base character and we revisit the same character by changing only one thing at a time to see how vastly different it could become. Now, in a sense, though, Krinesh, for the next part of the show tonight, we will be talking to a newer D&D player, and so you'll be able to, you know, get this first impression of what it means. Because if you've been playing for a while, maybe a little bit of that fun, that new car smell, you know, a bit of that polish is worn off, and it's good to see the game through fresh eyes. Okay. So, dexterity is important, and I think charisma is important. For who she is and what she does. Where do we want to put this? What if we did 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8. Yeah, bro player's ultra polished. Alright, I put the 14 in strength, because when we start out, her 2 racial modifier will give her a 16. A 15 in dex. Her con will go to 14. It could be important to have hit points as a barbarian, because you might be hit more often because you are probably granting advantage in order to get advantage on attacks. So having hit points can be handy. This character might not so much... this character might not so much rely on that natural defense. Or, if you wanted to kind of cheese it and say, well, with armor, medium armor, I'll never get more than +2 to my medium armor, because that's the cap. And you say, so it doesn't need to go past 14, because that's when you get +2. If you wanted to play it that way, you can play it off that way. Although, what if she's not wearing armor? Does she walk around the city with a great axe on her back, wearing, medium armor, fully employable, and she says, hey, you want to play a card game? Hey, mister, guess which cup the ball's underneath? Probably not. So it could make her more adaptive if she's wearing street clothes, but she's still armored because she can defend herself. Something to think about. Alright, anyway, if we play it where it lies here, though if you have suggestions in chat, you're very welcome to share your own. This would bring her strength to a 16, and her constitution to a 14. At level 4, she will put either 2 points into one stat, or 1 point into 2 stats. In 5th edition, you don't always have to just ride your main stat hard. Especially at these lower levels. So what we could do is move her dexterity to 16, and move her charisma to 14. And what this will do is give her a +3 strength, +3 dex, +2 con. Her intelligence... Look. Maybe she skipped out on a couple classes in school, but she's been doing other things. She's a student of the world. Her wisdom's a +0, and her charisma's a +2. Congratulations! She has earned a name. She is no longer a pile of statistics. So, if any of you have suggestions for a character, like, what name comes to mind with this type of a character that we're building? And, you can read what's happening on the page up here as well. What would we like to call her? Alright, so strength as a saving throw would normally be 3. However, we're proficient as per this little button filled in. So this is actually going to be a +6. Constitution's going to be a +5 for similar reasons, because we're proficient. The others are merely going to be what the number is as the modifier. So, those scores are reflecting that. Here, I'll zoom in a little bit so we can see a little bit easier here. Alright, now, let's fill in her scores, right? Acrobatics is dexterity based. So, we have a 3. Let's look at other dex-based skills. We have Sleight of Hand. Aha! 3 + 3 is 6. And Stealth is 3. So she's actually kind of sneaky. She'll get the drop on you, and when she does, she'll drop on you with her great axe. Alright, those are our dex skills. Next up, let's go to Animal Handling and Wisdom. So, she runs across a stray doggo in the street. So she doesn't have a negative. Or, she needs to ride a horse or help pilot, I don't know, an animal through something. It'll be neutral for her. Her insight, she might not be the best at reading people's emotions. But remember, her flaw, she's cocky, right? Oh, of course. I'd catch on if someone was trying to dupe me. Medicine is 0. Perception, however, is 3. As we're proficient. So 0 + 3 is 3. At least last I checked. I don't know, there's a bunch of new math going around in schools nowadays. Who knows? Survival is 0. She might live in the city more often than not. So she's a barbarian, but what if she just goes and works out at the gym? Or she goes to some kind of a wrestling club or a boxing, a boxing gym or something. or an equivalent for who she is and what she does. Why do you need a lot of decks on your Juggernaut, bro player? Arcana, well, look, when it comes to knowing book stuff, she leaves that to other people. Because, look, it's job security, right? Everyone needs a job. People leave stuff for her to do. She leaves stuff open for other people to do. Athletics. This is the only strength-based skill, so this is going to be a 3. And then Charisma. Some Chirisma. Deception is going to be 5, because she's proficient. Intimidation, 5. She's proficient. Grr. Steppies for you. Performance is 2, and Persuasion is 2. So she can still perform and persuade. She's not super ultra awesome best, but she's not bad. She can do it. And that comes in handy when she's, you know, performing magic tricks on the street corner. Oh, a sneaky. Got it. All right, bro player. Ah, gotcha. Now, passive perception is simply 10 plus your perception modifier, and that represents your natural awareness. It saves you on a ton of dice rolls. It's a really nice mechanic. And you can ask your DM about passive insight and passive investigation also. Next up, let's take a look at how accurate she is with her weapons. All of these are strength-based weapons. So, 3 plus proficiency is going to give her 6s across the board. A Great Axe deals 1d12 damage. And then because her strength modifier is 3, she gets to sneak in that bonus damage. And this is slashing damage also. Hand axes are 1d6, I believe, plus 3. I don't think they're 1d4s. I could be wrong, though. But I think they're 1d6s. And javelins are 1d6 plus 3 piercing damage. Your doggo is snoring. My gato is laying on top of a pizza box. Which means that she... Yeah. Oh, I can pet you. Oh, how horrible. What a terrible night to have the curse of someone who loves you and feeds you and pets you and plays fetch with you even while he's streaming. Yeah, that's you. Alright, hit points. At first level, you start with the maximum amount of hit points that you get as your hit die. For a barbarian, bada boom, look at that. That's a thick old 12 right up there. Then, for every level past first, so she's level 6, she has 5 other levels, I would recommend going half plus 1 of your hit die. Your DM might say, nah, just roll it, or just give you maximum, minimum, or something along those lines. But in this case, let's go 5 times 7, right? Half of 12 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Then, for every level, all 6 of them, she is going to get bonus hit points equal to her Constitution modifier. So, there we go. Catovania. 12. 35. 47. 59. At level 6, she has 59 hit points. And remember, if you ever increase your Constitution later on, that's retroactive to all your past levels as well. It's a good way, if you need hit points and quick, boost up your Constitution. Alright, now, there's other details that we can fill in, such as her eyes, skin color, hair. If you all have ideas for this, then, you know, you could throw them out there. What does this character look like to you? You know, what comes to mind? Now, she doesn't have any spells, being a barbarian. She casts Fist as her spells, so we don't need to worry about page 3. Don't forget, too, on these character sheets, if you click here, you can upload character art that you've found online, you've drawn yourself. Maybe Heck, get some Sculpty. Go to a craft store and buy a thing of Sculpty and make a mini yourself of your character. Who cares if it looks kind of janky? It's yours. Take a picture and upload that for your character appearance. Then, if you have any sort of holy symbols, affiliations with an organization or a faction or something, you could upload a symbol here. But look how much roleplay room you have to work with on the character sheet. Here you can make notes about your backstory. What treasures do you have? Not just 15 gold pieces, but is your battle axe an heirloom and you want to go into detail about that? Additional features and traits if you want to be very thorough. Allies and organizations. So I'm playing in a 5-person group. So, here's Joe playing whatever. And then, here's Allison playing something else. Here's Harold playing something. Some derpy dude named Matt is playing in your D&D game. I don't know. Matts are nothing but trouble. And then, I don't know, you have Susie. That's a convenient name. And so you can go and make notes about, okay, so Susie is playing, Grimtooth Blackstorm Ravenblood as her character. And then, you put like Death Cleric of whatever, blah, blah, blah. So you can keep track. And that way at the tabletop, you can refer to those notes and help, stay in character or write down interesting things that maybe you want to bring up later. Maybe you know that Grimtooth Blackstorm Ravenblood has a secret weakness for cookie dough ice cream. And that comes up in conversation in like session 10. Meanwhile, session 25, and you have to get Grimtooth Blackstorm Ravenblood on your side. You go and you buy cookie dough ice cream and you offer it to her. Yes, Sprocketeer, yeah. A character journal, or some people call it like an adventure diary. Yeah, keep stuff like that. So there's all of these tools that are at your hands in order to do this and keep track. That said, look, we pretty much have a finished character for purposes of what we're going to be doing for the rest of the week. What do we want to name her? Broaplier, I know you've mentioned Velma a couple times. Do you all think that we have a Velma character? Or you want to take Velma as a root and change it? What would we like to name this character? I have one, but I need to pick a lock to get in the book. Sprocketeer, now is that Dilly with one L? Or is that supposed to be like Dilly as in 2 L's? Dilly? Jinkies, what a spooky name, says Alzy. Hey, Alzy, good to see you. Dilly-Dilly? Hey, that could be a thing in her clan. Your middle name is the same as your first, and that way people know it. Right? Come up with a reason. You can have a serious character who has the name Dilly-Dilly, and it's actually cultural and meaningful. And you know what? You darn tootin' better know that everyone at that table is going to remember your character's name is Dilly, or Dilly-Dilly. Velma of Dillington. Is she a feminine dwarf? Does she use her charisma and her cons? Yes. Well, she does sleight of hand, but because of her personality here, she swindled and ruined people that didn't deserve it. She's seeking to atone for misdeeds. I'm convinced no one could ever fool me the way I fool others. She's very creative, so she does use her charisma a lot. I don't know if she's overtly flirty, but she does... I think she's willing to swindle people that she feels deserves it. But I don't think that's necessarily being flirty. Lavender's blue, Dilly-Dilly, Lavender's green. As a full name, like a full proper name. There's a song called The Ballad of Miss Lily about a saloon girl who cons men out of their money. Oh, you based a character on her. Hey, yeah, you can find inspiration in that sort of stuff. Your Warforged name is Glaive / the Iron Giant. Yeah, a lot of them do have very practical, straightforward names, Bro Plier. So we have here. Let's go this. Her name is Velma Dilly-Dilly. For flirty dwarf girls, see the Rat Queens. Oh my gosh, yes, Alzy. Yes, you could see the Rat Queens, and I think people know what you're talking about. I'm not saying that in disgust or despair. Believe me, I'm in the wrong field of work if I did that. But yeah, Alzy, that's a very handy reference. And, well, yeah, and you know what, Sprocketeer? So we didn't establish a false identity because part of the point of what we're doing this week is we're going to remake her, but we are going to change some aspects of who the character might mechanically be, but reflavor it and then discuss. So in this parallel world, Velma Dilly-Dilly is a male sailor, yet is also still the barbarian and everything else is the same. And so how do we have the same mechanics of the character, but we're getting an entirely different extrapolation of the features? It's a good roleplay challenge, and it helps make us think or say, I've already played a cleric. Well, I can't play another cleric. Well, I think you should vary up which classes you play, but you sure as heck can play vastly different characters that are still clerics. Your Warforged better die in a very emotional way, or it's gonna be named Iron Giant, or if it's gonna be named. Gotcha. All right, Electro. In fact, so I think I should get up and take a break myself. Let's take a 10-minute break. We've named a character, and when we come back, actually, Electro Dolly will be a special guest and is going to discuss from a fresh perspective. What's D&D? What does it mean to play? What's the interest? Why would someone who has very limited exposure to the game want to pick it up? You know, what are the hopes and joys, or even what are the concerns associated with it? So I have 12:52 a.m. everyone. Let's take 10 minutes, and I'm gonna go get a nice big pitcher of water. I might get some ranch to dip this pizza crust in. You know what I'm saying? And when we come back, why don't we interview a new player to D&D? One of us, right? Okay, break.